Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and the tornadoes did come through last night. Now, the tornado siren went off here where I live, and it was there was an actual tornado spotted, but it did not come near where I am. So, but I was kind of disappointed that the power did not go out, because I had gone and gotten a couple of my wife's candles. And one of them was pineapple punch. I was going to light pineapple punch, and I also had Georgia peach smelling candles. And I was kind of curious to see what they smelled like, and I never got a chance to light them up. Power stayed on. And by the way, if you haven't seen it, The Irishman on Netflix, that's what I watched last night. I highly recommend you go watch The Irishman. It's got Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Al Pacino. It's got all these major guys in it, and it's long, but it's well worth your time. Basically, it's the story of what happened to Jimmy Hoffa, and they tell it like it's just factual, who killed him and what they did and all that. But I don't know. I haven't gone and looked to see about all that. Okay. First, let's start here. This is coin market cap. I wanted to show you we're at about 218 billion. And so this market, everything that I have seen for the last week, this market, the vibe just is out there. It feels like, I mean, we're seeing green, and then when the red comes, the green comes right back. We haven't seen a lot of this type of behavior in digital assets in a while. And this right here, I think we've come up about 20 to 25 billion dollars this week alone in the market. So I'm very excited, and my gut's giving me a really good vibe about things right now. So let's go to this first. This is from Peter Voss. Flash FX. I'm not going to go into this article because the article more or less says what he says here. I think it was an interview with the Flash FX, one of the executives with Crypto Eddie, and he had said that 20 XRP corridors were possible in 2020. And that's pretty much the news that you want to get out of that. All right, now this is some older information, I think, but it's still something worthy of your hearing about, okay? This is from this REB0RN13. DTC Clearinghouse, Finestra, Ripple, and R3. FIS Ripple, FIS R3, Fusion Payments, DLT XRP, Fusion Payments, Microsoft Azure Cloud, Ripple R3, DLT. DTCC Go Live is 24th February 2020. One drop will become a monsoon. And he's got these slides here. This is DTCC saying here, down here it says production live date. Monday, February 24th, 2020. This is the first day in which the new changes will be live. And then he's got this. This is from an article from back in 2017, or a press release. DTCC and digital asset move to next phase after successful proof of concept for repo transactions using distributed ledger technology. They move $3 trillion per day. And he's got a few things highlighted here. Today announced the successful completion of a proof of concept to better manage the netting process for U.S. Treasury and agency purchase agreement repo transactions, leveraging distributed ledger technology, working with Digital Asset, a developer of DLT solutions for financial institutions. The two companies have demonstrated for the first time the successful netting of start leg repo transactions. Then there's this. This was from Ripple back in 2016. New DTCC white paper gets real about blockchain hype. Distributed financial technology, embracing disruption, distributed ledgers, Then there's this from Accenture, the Ripple solution. Ripple is a DLT, and then it goes through everything about Ripple here. Okay, and then he's got this. which is another part of this. Clearinghouse operating for 166 years, clear and settle $2 trillion a day. Up there it said $3 trillion a day. Who knows? Somewhere in there. Owned by 24 of the largest banks in the United States, 500 banks that use various payment rails. We were the Fed before there was a Fed. Old but gold. Watch to understand how quickly the shift can occur. And they've got a video here from Crypto Maniac that you can go and watch. And then this is from Leonidas. Upcoming Ripple motion to dismiss the lawsuit, January 15th. Don't expect clarity whether XRP is a security or not. If Ripple wins, case will be dropped, but no declaration of XRP as a security or not will be made. If the motion is not granted, the case will simply move forward. Now, one thing that happened that many of you may not know, back in 2015, this is on May 5th, 2015, and I've talked about this before in this context. Everybody in this, everybody that gets all negative and thinks that they ought to be depressed in this market and everything, we had real reasons to be depressed back in 2015. We had reasons like this. One day I woke up in 2015 to read this. FinCEN finds Ripple Labs Inc. in the first civil enforcement action against virtual currency exchanger. And basically they were fined, Ripple was fined $700,000 back then. Now, I remember waking up and seeing this and going, well, there goes my investment. I was wrong about all this. These guys are, this must have been some kind of, horrible thing or whatever. But a funny thing happened along the way, folks. What happened was Ripple kept on moving forward. Now, I've asked myself from that day, I haven't asked myself from that day until today, what I've always said to myself is Ripple did not have their doors kicked in. Nobody shut them down, and there's a reason for that. As I sit here today, what I believe is that this right here was a way for Ripple to get on the record for being, and I'll show you here. Here's an article. This was part of that FinCEN. Okay, Ripple's deal with U.S. Treasury defines XRP as a currency, not a security. Ripple signed settlement agreement with the Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, in 2015, paying $700,000 fine for selling its virtual currency known as XRP without registering with FinCEN and by failing to implement and maintain adequate anti-money laundering. All right, here's what I believe, and I'll tell you point blank what I believe. I believe that at somewhere right in here is when the powers that be took Ripple under their wings, and I don't know what the reasons are. I believe, though, that this was the time that they took them under their wings and said, okay, we see what you're doing, and we see how this is going to help not just the United States, but the world, to change the entire world. And I believe that this was for the purpose of having something on record where it's declared something other than a security. That's kind of what I think. The currency here, this is highlighted, the currency of the Ripple network known as XRP was pre-mined. In other words, unlike some other virtual currencies, XRP was fully generated prior to its distribution. As of 2015, XRP is the second largest cryptocurrency by market capitalization after Bitcoin. I think they knew that eventually plaintiff attorneys would go crazy on this and get greedy, and they would come after XRP. And I think that they wanted something from the government, a settled something from the government where fines were paid, where they could hold up a sheet of paper and say, see, the government said this. And that is why I think that this was a way to go on record. And I think that Ripple a long time ago and XRP were the chosen ones by the most powerful people in the world. And that's what I think that this FinCEN thing was about back then. I believe that it was thought out because they knew that court cases would come, and there wouldn't be a way to deal with that unless you could hold something up from the government that says, no, here the government made a declaration that we're not a security. And we paid the fine. So it's stamped. Now, I could be wrong. I'm no lawyer, folks, but I'm just telling you my opinion. Okay, Michael at VAL5 Links. The first of Hong Kong's new generation of digital banks has announced its arrival with a 6% introductory rate for deposits. I have one question. I don't have to go into this article. I have one question for you along these lines. If Hong Kong is opening digital banks and they're going to pay interest rates on those digital assets in those digital banks, how are traditional banks going to compete with these digital banks over time if they're paying interest rates like this and other traditional banks are not paying anything in interest? The answer to that question is they're not. That's why you're seeing digital banks starting to pop up in Switzerland. That's why you saw Goldman Sachs. We covered it this week. Goldman Sachs is announcing that they're transforming to a digital bank, whatever that means, right? Okay, and then there's this from Michael at VAL5 Links. Excuse me. Fundstrat reveals Bitcoin 2020 outlook, predicts massive rally based on 3 factors. And this is this guy, Tom Lee, who's on CNBC all the time. He says, let's see, it says, according to his 2020 crypto outlook report, there are 3 main factors that could cause Bitcoin to surge. They include 1, upcoming Bitcoin halving, 2, increasing geopolitical risk, and 3, 2020 U.S. presidential election. Bitcoin returned 92% in 2019, trouncing all other major asset classes. An impressive return given the significant policy and regulatory headwinds that emerged during the year. The congressional blowback from Facebook's Libra and the correlated White House bashing of Bitcoin marked the highs for 2019. Now, he's always talking mainly Bitcoin, but I just wanted to show you that. Just Bitcoin still, whether we like it or not, seems to at least trigger the market to go up or go down initially. I believe at some point XRP will leave Bitcoin behind and it will make Bitcoin an altcoin. And when that happens, I will have a big, excuse me, a big smile on my face. Trust you me. Chinu Patel at Chinu Patel 29 sent me this. Now this was from SEC. It was a tweet from them yesterday. Our 2020 exam priorities include a continued focus on protecting retail investors, prioritizing cyber risk, digital assets, and anti-money laundering programs. So you can see they're focused on digital assets big time this year. Okay, now I want to show you something that I showed you yesterday, but more was brought to my attention, and I think it's important to go over it. Okay, this was from XRP Stewart. It was about Raybo technology. Raybo technology is a first of its kind in fintech, as the strategic partner of Ripple Labs. Now, this is from 2015. Strategic partner of Ripple Labs, the founder of the Ripple protocol, Raybo, undertakes the promotion as well as brand and reputation, building the Ripple network in the Greater China region. Now, remember, folks, there's a lot of people that can't stand Justin Sun of Tron, okay? Well, we've seen Justin Sun come out in support of Ripple in the past. We know that Justin Sun worked for Ripple before he went off and started Tron. Well, what I'm about to show you involves him, and I wanted to show you this because it's pretty amazing. This came to me from Rob Licker, okay? He sent me this. And here it is. Raybo, he said, more or less, I think he said basically, Raybo owns Tron or is a significant investor in Tron. This is trademarks. Raybo, Beijing Technology Company, Tron. It's got all of these things. Tron, advertising services, Tron. And look right here. It says Tron. If you go down here, Justin Sun, biometric identification apparatus, computer memory device, Raybo Technology, Justin Sun, his name and Raybo Technology is all over the place together. All right. And then there's this. This was a tweet from back in February of 2018. So Russia was in attendance. Russia might leave SWIFT community, and then Ripple, if entering China, would look to China mainland partnerships to help bring Ripple into China. We know Raybo Technologies is still active in China and connections to a bigger company. And then this U.S. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse said on Wednesday that it would cooperate with local partners, including the People's Bank of China, when entering the Chinese market in the future. The remark was made at the keynote discussion meeting Blockchain Connect, gathered by companies in the U.S. and Russia. Garlinghouse is asked how to open the Asian market. We are not currently planning an office in China. This is before they opened an office in China. But of course, I've considered entering the Chinese market. I'm thinking how many companies in Silicon Valley will enter the Chinese market. When Ripple enters the Chinese market, we will partner with business partners in mainland China. Then says Raybo owns Tron Labs, and Raybo has worked with Ripple before, and Raybo has some ties to Ripple investors. I have no idea how to predict the future. I just look for connections. Then there's this. This is the U.S. trademark application. Tron Lab, then Raybo Technology is the applicant, and it shows that here. And then you go here, and this is that same thing I just showed you. So let me make sure that's all of it. Yeah. Okay. And then there was this. When I went on Twitter and typed Raybo and Ripple, look what comes up. Raybo, this is from Justin Sun. Raybo will run for Tron SR, I don't know what that means. Raybo has been committed to promoting decentralized distribution clearing technology represented by Ripple in Greater China, promoting blockchain clearing technology in financial institutions such as banks. Okay. And then there was this. How can we forget this? This was from August of 2017. Welcomed China's central bank, industry and academic leaders to Ripple headquarters to discuss the latest blockchain trends. I just thought this was all interesting. And I want to finish this video with some great quotes that, I think it's important since we've been in a 2-year bear market to show you some of the mega optimistic quotes that we've seen from people at Ripple over and over and over. And here we go. I wanted to show these to you. This is probably one of my favorite, and this is from Naveen Gupta. And Stephen Bull from the DF had put this out. Now, it says no hype, but his statement here is one of the most hypey statements I've ever heard from Naveen Gupta himself. That's part of the reason I like this guy is how optimistic he is. Naveen Gupta is one of the most optimistic people at Ripple, and I wish I had gotten a chance to shake his hand. I did see him, but he was always busy when I saw him. We're here to make a dent in the universe. Just cross-border remittances is a $155 trillion problem. We solve this first, then we look at something else. We're like Google for search, Ripple for remittances, Naveen Gupta of Ripple. And then there's this, and I put some of these quotes. I found these this morning. If we're successful, then that's transformative. It allows us to put our own little dent in the universe. I think it's going to be a large dent in the universe. And that's from Brad Garlinghouse. And then there's this, which is the old classic from Miguel Baez, okay, who runs XRP Markets, by the way. December 13th, 2017. Zero doubt, period, ever, period. I think that pretty much spells it out, doesn't it? And then there's this. From not Chris Larson. The next one's Chris Larson. This is my favorite quote ever from Hodor on his blog. XRP, he's talking about the XRP 1% club. He's talking about the XRP rich list and how many XRP you have to be in it. He said, so I put XRP 1% club at the top. Quote, there might be a day very soon where this 1% translates into the classical notion of the 1%. The upper echelons of personal net worth. And that's from his blog. I believe it was March, maybe 2018. Don't quote me there. I forgot to write it down. And then there's this from Chris Larson. We don't think blockchain can do most of what it's been ascribed to do, but we're entering the internet of value, and that is very much underhyped. How about them apples, folks? And then there's this from Mr. B. Most conventional stock market investors could never endure a 90 to 95% reduction in values. That is how tough you are, crypto gangsters. Zero doubt after 2.5 years, and the price is lower today than when I got in. And I'm with him. I have never been more optimistic about XRP and about what Ripple's doing than I am right now. And when I put all those pieces together in my mind, there's nothing but reasons to be optimistic. Just because, and many of those quotes illustrate a point. A lot of those quotes were written during the uptrend in the market. Well, none of the things that those people are talking about has changed. The only thing that's changed is that we've been in a 2-year bear market. Well, the digital asset is here to tell you it's okay to be optimistic even when we've been in a 2-year bear market. There's nothing wrong with it if you've done your research and you have all the reasons in the world to believe what you believe, which is what I do, and obviously Mr. B does. Now, the Ledger Nano S, there's still a 20% discount. The sale that they're doing with the link that they gave me a coupon code, I think it's the only place you can get it. It's 5 more days that the sale's going to last. A lot of people have bought these, and they're only going to let 200 people buy these Ledger Nano S's at that 20% discount. The code is in the description of this video. You can go and get that code, and there's also a link, I believe, where you can just click on the link, but you got to use my code and you can get the 20% discount. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that we have all the reasons in the world to be optimistic, which is why I am. Thank you for listening.